This is a 1998 Honda Legend, and it is a rare car indeed. It was rare when it was new, and it's rare now, especially in Europe. They really didn't sell that many of them. It was a car that was going up chiefly against the Lexus LS400, although it did also have rivals in the Mercedes S-Class as well. It's a big, heavy, comfortable luxury car with, for its day, loads of features. Oriented on the comfort side of driving, it's not a performance car, it's just a smooth and comfortable saloon car. But what is it like now? This car is 25 years old, it's a 1998 model, and I want to find out what it's like to drive this kind of car around in the UK today. So this is actually the third generation of Honda Legend that came out in 1995, and they sold it for almost 10 years until 2004. So it was actually around for a long time, but you'd be forgiven for not noticing that fact, because I don't remember the last time I saw a Legend of any sort. Maybe that's why they called it a Legend, because it kind of is like a myth, a legend. When did you last see one? This car, it feels like it's been hewn from a big lump of metal and plastic and rubber and whittled down into the shape of a luxury saloon car, in the sense that it feels high quality. It's got that Honda quality. Everything is nice to touch. All of the materials are all high quality, and it all fits together really well. The indicator stalk, that's always a favourite of mine on 90s Hondas or even 2000s Hondas. It just feels super nice to use. And then of course I've got these massive leather armchairs that I'm sat in. It's just super comfortable. It's obviously incredibly adjustable. It's a luxury car, and you can set the seat electronically back and forward, the backrest electronically as well, the steering column which comes out of the dashboard to greet you. For a car that was built and designed in 1995, now this car's a 98 model, it's very sort of advanced. It's got a lot of technology that you might not expect to see, but then of course it was a luxury car at the time. It came with alloy wheels as well, but the wheels on this car are not the originals. Now they're quite nice. They look sort of good for the car. They're not the original ones, which would have been much more kind of flat and simple looking. These are actually off of a Mazda. This is the kind of car that's probably not going to get me that many views on YouTube, but I'm in this car and I'm driving it because I wanted to know what this car was like. It's just one of those cars that to me is fascinating. It's got a 3.5 litre V6 up front, which sounds like a big engine, but when you start to compare it to the competition at the time, most of them had V8s. They had 4 litre V8s, and this tiny little 3.5 litre V6 is actually a little bit small, but it is a very tasty sounding engine. It's very quiet, but it's just got this real nice low down sort of burble to it, a very grunty, burbly sound. It was the only engine you could get in this car. There was no diesel option. I mean, diesel back then, forget it. Nobody cared about fuel economy then, it was just about smoothness, about quietness. Pairing it to that automatic gearbox, this is a 4-speed automatic. That's the only option you could have. Again, it was all about making the car smooth.
To see how smooth the engine is, we tried the classic coin balance test.
Okay, give it a rev. The very weird thing is that they actually put the engine in this car in a longitudinal format, which means it's pointing that way, and that is usually for rear-wheel drive cars only. But Honda decided, well, we'll stick to tradition, which is Honda's tradition of making cars front-wheel drive, but we'll put the engine in the layout that you would expect for a rear-wheel drive car. What it does mean is that the wheels have got a heck of a lot of space to turn, like you would in a rear-wheel drive car, and for that reason you get an excellent turning circle on this car. It's really very, very impressive for such a long, big car. I mean, this car, again, to compare it to the Lexus, it's the same length as the Lexus LS400. It's 5 meters long. On a motorway, this is where it's at home. This is the place for this car. It's just cruising along, soaking up any of the sort of undulations of the road. It's quiet, its steering isn't really twitchy. Obviously you've got all that kind of at lower speeds play in the steering wheel. It means that once you're on the motorway, you're kind of just like almost like a ferry, just gliding along like a nice crystal clear waters, and you're the pilot. If you stretch its legs, it's still got the performance on the motorway as well. The only issue, of course, is the fuel economy, which the average fuel economy is 23 mpg. So if you're going to be doing like cruising along at 70 miles an hour, you're probably going to not get much more than that. And I'm going to try out the cruise control as well. Set it. Yeah, that's working. It's on the steering wheel as well, which is nice. A lot of cars have it on a stalk and you can't really see it and it's hard to find. So this interior, I actually really like it. It's really very simple, nice straight lines, nicely designed. It's got this big, very solid looking centre console with this really tasty looking wood like dark wood trim. In front of you, you've got the dials which, when they're off, you can actually not even see them. Like, unless there's bright light shining on them, you can't see anything's there. And then when you turn the car on, it's like everything just comes to life in this like bright orange colours. Everything is, of course, to hand. You've got the climate controls up here on the top, a little LCD clock, which is the Japanese way, is to have an old school clock like that, which I always love. The tape deck underneath that with lots of different adjustability for bass and treble, and all the switches are nice. And I've got my heated seat controls down at the centre console, high and low. Now, if they're anything like, I'm not going to torture myself today and put them on, but if they're anything like the ones in my Honda Accord, then they are incredibly powerful and hot. A very rudimentary little trip computer, which has got the trip A, trip B, mileage, and then the outside temperature and your mileage, and you can select them with this little button here, but it's very basic stuff. Practicality up in the cabin, the centerpiece is quite clearly this big armrest in the middle, because it's adjustable and it holds your arm, but also it's got like two different containers in it. You know, you've got that magic trick of where you've got a small container on the top and then a big one underneath as well. Something I really like about this car, and it's something that a lot of people reviewing it at the time didn't like, is the looks. I think it's got that perfect, for me, car shape. It's a car-shaped car. Like, when I drew cars as a kid, this was the shape I drew them. But within that, it's got a very nice, neat design, and it is actually quite a handsome car, I think. Especially in this metallic purple. That's an incredible colour for a luxury saloon car like this. It mostly looks quite dark, but when certain lights hits it, it looks really bright purple. As this car was around 9 years, they did facelift it in 1999, so this car just misses out on what they did with the facelift. Now, they changed the front grille to make it a lot more like the corporate Honda grille of that time. It had the sort of V shape that dipped into the front bumper. Of course, it's now time to ask backseat JJ what he thinks of the back of the Honda Legend, and because it's a big luxury Japanese saloon car, it should be quite interesting. What do you reckon, pal? Well, JJ, it's about time we got a car like this. I mean, it's a proper luxury car, isn't it, where I can actually sit up straight and I can fit behind you. It's obviously designed to fit adults behind adults, and it's doing a good job of it. Quite Spartan back here. If you compare this to like a Lexus or a Lexus LS400 or something like that, you would have in this panel here, you would have like controls for stuff. I'd be able to like change the climate control and the CD player and all that stuff. In the bottom of this center console here, I can change the ventilation, I can change it to my feet or to my face, and I can change it whether it's on or off. But otherwise, that is about it. I've got like some ashtrays down here, seat back pockets, some lights, adjustable headrests. That's actually it. So it's not actually that luxurious back here.
私を東京に連れて行って。
Watashi o Tokyo ni tsurete. Well, I was trying to ask someone to take me to Tokyo. When I go on my little visit to Japan on my own without you, I'm going to be in the back of one of these as an executive, just asking my driver to take me places. Now, although it didn't have that many obvious rivals in the UK and Europe, it did in Japan, its home country, where there were absolutely loads of this sort of car around. There was the Mitsubishi Debonair, the Toyota Crown, the Nissan Cedric and the Nissan Gloria as well. They were all these sort of like Japanese businessman comfort-oriented cars where you could sit in the back and be chauffeured around. This was Honda's attempt to get into that market. The journalists, of course, they always have to review the handling of a car, no matter what the car is, even if the way the car handles is utterly irrelevant to the sort of car it is. And of course they did that with this car, and quite rightly they said that it doesn't handle very well. It's very boat-like in the corners. The steering, there's so much steering on it that to get around the corner you have to You have to put a lot of lock on, and you only know that you're going in the vague sort of direction of the wheel when you turn it. You know, it is like a boaty kind of car, but all that said, it doesn't matter. Like, I guess if you compare it to something like a BMW 7 Series, yes, that car's going to be better to drive, but it's just about being smooth and comfortable, and that's what this car does absolutely fine. Maybe around town it is a little bit frustrating to have to turn the wheel 78 times to go around a corner. Running one of these cars, it's a Honda, so it's very well built. It's a reliable machine. It's designed well. It's solid, and you know it should last. I mean, this car has lasted. It's done 142,000 miles. However, things will go wrong. It's a car. It's it's a machine made by man, and things will go wrong. And the issue that you'll have with this car is, of course, parts. Parts will be hard to find because it was a rare car when it's new. It's a rare car now, but you can get them. There's people in the US. You might have to wait for parts to come to be delivered, but you can get them from the US. You could probably get them from Japan. Now I'm going to put up the calculation of, in today's prices of petrol, how much that would cost to drive in this car, because somebody spent a lot of money on fuel in this car. Now presumably a lot of it was back in the early noughties, 90s, the heyday of cheaper fuel and all that, but still it must have cost a fair few quid to fuel this car for all those miles. If you've got a Honda Legend, or you've owned a Honda Legend in the past, or you're interested in buying one, please do comment below and let me know about your car or which car you're after, because I'd love to hear some stories from Honda Legend owners. And also, please hit the like button if you've been enjoying this video. So that's the Honda Legend. It's a different prospect, isn't it? It's something that if you want something very unusual, like if you don't find an Lexus LS400 unusual enough, then you could look to the Honda Legend just to give yourself that even more different kind of experience. But I suspect that it's probably not quite as good a car as the Lexus. I will obviously refrain from making my decision until I have driven an LS400. But it's a lovely car, and one that I'd be quite happy to drive around as my car, provided I could afford the fuel. So yeah, thanks again to Hakan for lending me this car. And if you want to see a video on another car, then please do click up there, and don't forget to like and subscribe and all that rubbish, and I'll see you in the next one.